Whew, so Veto's done. Veto's are done, and we are jumping into our fresh series, our fresh semi-finals. Again, we do have Protoss versus Terran here, in a sense that we have the Protoss half of the bracket up against the Terran half of the bracket. Non-stop PvPs in the upper half. Blame the seeding, Pappy, blame the seeding. But here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Winter Madness. We have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Basilisk. It is a Trigger. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Protoss player, the South Green Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is a classic. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our PvP. Best of luck. Oh. Now, coming into this classic is the favorite player. That is true, but at the same time, Trigger, he has had some insane PvP this year. There was a brief period of time a couple of months ago where he was looking dominant over players like Hero and like Classic. Trigger, he was hyper aggressive, and we saw a lot of all-ins out of Trigger. Likewise, Classic is very, very fond of Proxy Robo. I would expect to see Classic go for Proxy Robo at least twice in this series, in this best of 5, maybe even 3 times. But again, Classic is very fond of Proxy Robo. And that is kind of his signature move. We'll keep an eye on Classic. As Trigger, he does veer off towards the right-hand side. Oh. It does veer off. So does Classic. Classic setting up for a proxy. Meanwhile, Trigger, he is scouting. And there's a pylon. Now, based on the pylon location, this is further back. This is not in position for a proxy robo. Technically, we could hide a Stargate here. We could leave the probe in this area and then double back around for the Stargate. But otherwise, it looks like a fake proxy pylon. What does that mean? Well, when the scouting worker of Trigger goes into the main base, he should be counting pylons. There's only one, right? There's only one pylon in the main. You can see he does go further back behind the mineral line. Trigger, he has 2 in his main base. Classic only has 1. So that is indicative of a proxy. That means that a pylon is somewhere out there, which means there could be a proxy robo or a proxy Stargate or even a proxy Twilight Council. We can see it's a fake out. Mind games, right? Mind games at a Classic. He's hoping to force an overreaction at a Trigger. And Trigger does go for a Stargate on 1 base. Ooh, even denies the scout. Okay. So Trigger, he does deny the scout. Opens up Stargate. Bold move. As Trigger, he will go for a delayed expansion. Classic going straight for the Nexus. And Trigger, he did not scout. But based on the rally, Trigger, he... It's going to be close. No! Barely out of vision. Barely out of vision. Barely out of... Oh, yeah, barely out of range. Does not scout the pylon. Trigger is still in the dark. But once he sees the Nexus, he'll know. If he sees the Nexus, as the probe scout is denied. It denies the probe scouts. Adept has arrived. Trigger is still playing blind. Trigger is still on 1 base. And now Trigger confirms, kind of. There we go. Yeah, now he confirms. Adept moves in, confirms the timing, and now he sees just how fast this Nexus was. How much progression there is. Gets 1 probe kill, but that is not worth the Adept. Trigger, he has to move out. There's a lot of pressure on Trigger to find some damage. He has to find some damage here, but there's already a shield battery. It's already done. Yeah, the battery's complete. Trigger's going to be zoned away, and Trigger, his own natural timing is so delayed compared to Classic. Back in the main base, shield battery's also in production. Oracle dives in. Classic, he sees. Yeah, he sees the Oracle. He knows. He's racing over. He does get the warp in time. And this Oracle so far has not paid for itself. Gets 1. No, not even. Doesn't get a probe. I mean, does at least keep the Oracle alive, but this is a very rough start for Trigger. It's very rough. As Trigger, he does get up to 2 Oracles. 2 Oracles, they can one-shot probes. Oh, God. Never mind, he's down to 1. Down to 1 Oracle. And Classic is looking very comfortable. Looking very comfortable here. Classic is up in economy, he's up in army, Classic is moving out, and Trigger, he is in danger. Some well-placed force fields. Classic can slice up this army. We'll see how Classic engages. Classic moves in. Shield battery's done in time. Trigger, he's ready. He's in position. The Oracle does double back around. Find some damage. Just the one probe though. Just one probe kill for 2 Oracles. Again, so far, not worth it. And Trigger, he has a lot of catching up to do here. You can see he's setting up for a third. Classic already has a third base halfway done. As you mentioned, again, Classic, he is ahead. Faster natural, faster third base, stasis trap into the main base. We'll get 1 probe. Stasis traps 1 worker. It's something. Now, technically, there is a small window, a very, very small window, where Blink is going to be done for Trigger before Classic. True, so there's maybe a timing, but Blink is about to finish and Trigger's not really in position to be aggressive. So that window is closing. Trigger moves out. There's no battery here. And remember, Blink is not yet done for Classic. Trigger, he does still have that window. Moves in, gets a sentry. 1 sentry at the same time. Adepts, they bust into the mineral line. Probes are going down. Nice going give you by Trigger, but that's going to be 5 dead workers. Yeah, 5 probes falling. Oof. Still a better trade for Classic. Classic getting into Glaive Adepts. Oh boy. Okay. So he's going for a very heavy Immortal Adept army. He's building up to it. Adepts, they do a great job when it comes to tanking, when it comes to soaking, and buffering for the Immortals. Or he may just even incorporate them to harass. Just more harassment. As Triggers are underway. And Trigger getting into a more traditional composition here with charge lots. But again, Trigger's been playing from a depth set for quite some time. Now, there are still ways, there are still opportunities for Trigger to maybe outposition Classic. Classic is here on the left-hand side. Trigger might find a way into the bases or catch some reinforcing units. You can see Trigger, he's looking for those opportunities. He's looking for an opening. He's looking for... Oh. As Adepts, they do threaten the third. Denying more mining. Mining is going to be denied. Get some damage done here in the natural. Gets a full scout. Does confirm the lower gas count here by Trigger. Classic doing the same thing. But again, instead, Classic has supportive Adepts. Now, these Adepts, they don't just do a great job tanking against Stalker shots, but they also do a decent job at attacking Zealots. They don't really scale too well into a longer game, not as well as Archons and Charge Lots, but they have their place. Ooh, as the Prism gets sniped. Nice pickup. As Trigger has the high ground, gets a couple of extra volleys up. That's still 4 Immortals. Now, with enough Zealots, Trigger, he might be able to overwhelm the Adepts. That's a lot of Adepts, though. It's a lot of Adepts. Zealots are getting caught out. Trigger, his army is cut in half. Coming in from behind, okay. Catching reinforcements. Doesn't get the Prism this time. But Classy just walks in. Yeah, he just walks in. Just pushing into the third. Trigger, he's trying to race back. He's on the low ground. Immortal's somewhat exposed. Nice to have the Prism. Prism goes down. He gets 1 Immortal. Gets 1. He's going to get 2, but he's going to lose every single Stalker. Yeah, and Classic has too much. Classic, he just has too much. Takes out the Stalkers. Breaks through the Zealots. Will bleed out a lot of Immortals, true. A lot of Immortals do go down. And these Zealots, they do trade efficiently. They're trading as best they can. But GG gets called. It's not going to be enough. And Classic, he will take game number 1. Whew, GG. Classic, he does take a lead in the series. And again, it was just a really rough start. Remember, winding it all the way back, it all came down to the opener. Classic, he went for a fake out. He went for a fake proxy pylon. Trigger, as a result, he did react and respond with his own one-base play, going for his own Stargate back at home. It took him a long time to recognize what was happening, and by the time he realized that Classic had expanded, Trigger, he was so late with his own base, and the Stargate opener wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. He did invest into 2 oracles, and he wasn't really able to achieve much damage at all. I think he killed 1 probe throughout the course of the entire game, but there's 2 oracles. He killed 1 worker. He did get a stasis trap off. Oh. But again, the Stargate opener wasn't worth it. Later natural, later third base. Classic had a relatively comfortable game. There we go. There we go. Now we're getting to game number 2. Game 2 is going to be on the Old Republic. As our PvP does continue. And we'll see if Trigger can recover. And again, like, I don't think this first game was really indicative of the skill set of our 2 players, just because, again, Trigger, he was playing from behind from the beginning. Like, it was like it was just a really rough start. Really rough build. But here we go. Spawning in the bottom hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the red Protoss player. We have the Canadian Protoss down in the series, but we'll see if he can bounce back and tie things up. For Basilisk, it is a Trigger. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss representing Virtus Pro. It is Classic. Here we go. So we're getting into our PvP. Welcome to the Old Republic. It is a very large map in the map pool. I mean, I guess similar to Winter Madness. Larger map, longer rush distance by ground, but has more exposed 4th base options if we head into a 4th base setup. Now, I did mention earlier at the start of the series that Classic is known for proxy robo, and I feel like Classic was making use of his reputation in that last game where he went for a fake out. We'll see if he does something similar here or if he commits into an actual proxy. Here we go. Meanwhile, shout out to Dimega in the chat. Dimega. Trigger, he does move out towards left hand side. Oh, no, they run into each other. We do see Trigger setting up for a proxy, and the probes, they do come across each other here. A bit of an awkward moment. Now neither player can commit. Neither player should commit. But the plan was to throw down the pylon. And you can see both players throwing down their pylons back at home. So attempted and failed proxy here from our players. Bit of a Spider-Man meme moment. And they're forcing each other into more standard opener. Probe Scout comes in. And this time everyone is aware of what's going on. This time everyone knows. Ooh, nice pylon block here by Classic. Delaying the expansion. Trigger doesn't achieve the same though. He's going to be zoned away. With that, Classic has a slightly faster base. Slightly. Classic also did open up double Stalker. Trigger opening up Stalker Sentry. Trigger trying to catch out the first couple of units here. Remember, he can lock down these Stalkers with the force field. Up, up. Classic, calm down. And now we're building up. You can see that Classic, he does skip his next wave of units here. For what? For Twilight Council. So earlier Twilight Council, earlier Blink. Trigger, he continued unit production. So this Stalker movement at a Classic actually kind of made Trigger a little bit more scared. Made him scared and made him produce extra gateway units. And the end result here is a delay on the tech. So again, nice moves by Classic. It's these small little details that do give you an edge and do give you a lead. And in a mirror matchup, I mean, that's everything. So Blink is on the way to both players. And for now, we're settling in. We're settling in towards the mid game. We do see Trigger moving out with his Sword Eps. Sword Eps taking one-shot probes, so there is potential for economic damage. Classic staying up for his third base, and Trigger should be doing the same. As the Eps are getting ready for the Shade. Hallucination gets highest on the pylon. Goes further in, counting gateways. Does confirm only 2. And here comes the third base. Now Classic is completely out of position, by the way. Adepts are shading in. Probe's going to be going down. A nice damage. Going for the warp in. Locks down the Adepts. It does. Oh my god, Classic with the body blocking. Okay, that should not have happened. This should have gotten so much more damage. I mean, that could have been like a good 5-6 probes. The warp in, the body blocking. Classic, he defends, he blinks up into the main. Trigger, it's his turn to be out of position. Oof. Yeah, pylon goes down, gets into the mineral line. There's no game heart, so we got to count. So far only 2 dead probes. Depowers the robo, recalls back home, and Classic, he's just all over Trigger. Not like this. And again, the Adepts, they had potential, Pappy. They had potential. With that Trigger supply block, still no third base. Classic, his third is almost done. Alright, let's run it back. Let's Adepts are back. They're here. Once again, the pressure is on Trigger. This Trigger is moving out. Fun fact, Classic is staying on a lower... Okay, never mind. Remember there, I thought he didn't have any gas in his natural. Classic is building up. Oh! Let's say shade into the natural. Trigger's main army does rotate in. Catching out a Stalker, getting 1, getting 2. Nice force fields. Here's zoning Classic away. Ooh, loses Prism. Boys are being pulled. Classic coming in for the surround. But some dead supply here. Yeah, Stalkers are not quite able to engage. As well, 4 or 5 Stalkers not able to attack. Classic leading out a lot of probes, and he was every single worker. And with that Trigger, he's still taking the fight. Oh, as it's going to be a one-way trip though. Trigger, he will lose everything. Every Stalker's going to go down. But Trigger, he does take that economic lead. He's up in workers. Now he just has to survive the counterattack. Easier said than done, but hey, he has Immortals. Immortals are on the way. Classic, he's got to go. He's down by 11 probes. But he does have charge. No Zealot Warpins yet. We should be seeing that. Classic does trigger the shields. Oh. Does trigger. Here come those Zealots. And Classic's main army, it is more efficient. Straight up. It's just more efficient here with their charge lots. They built a tank. He's diving on the Immortal. Immortal gets focused down. Massive pickup. And takes down the Immortal. Boys are being pulled as a second Immortal. Once again, though, it is exposed. Dives on the Immortal. Yeah, he dives in. Immortal goes down. Nice side for the Prism, at least. Again, that could have been game. And Trigger, he's barely holding on. Barely holding, barely surviving. Again, if that warping completed like that, that would have been game then and there. That would Snipe the prism. Holding on. But again, Trigger is still on the back foot. Still no charge. Speaking of, that's a massive wave of Zealots on the way. Classy just waiting for his War Prism. Now it's time for round 2. Time for the second round. Oh boy. Warp completes. Trigger doesn't really have much of a standing army. He's got some shield batteries, true. He can pull the boys. Does have some advantages defensively here, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a tough hold here as Classic. He does make his way in, diving in the shield battery. Immortal's exposed. Immortal goes down instantly. It takes down the Immortal. Zealots, they can collapse in. Better concave for Classic. Oh. Yeah, line for another warp in. This time the prism doesn't go down. And he can just bully back Trigger. Just bully him back. Forcing him to the third base. Zealots, they do get into the middle line. Every probe goes down. The Nexus as well. And now we can go for the main fight. Takes down the final Immortal. And from here, Classic looking to take and looking to extend his lead in the series. Looking to take the game here. One more left on the high ground. Immortal goes down. Zealots, they zone away the Stalkers. We're now getting into the production. Getting into the main base. Classic has got another warp in. Nice force field. Okay. He force fields a ramp. GG gets called, and Classic will take that 2-0 lead. GG. Whew. GG, well played. GG, well played. As Classic does take a 2-0 lead in the series, and again, it was just a rough start here for Trigger, bearing in mind that he was unable to get any harassing damage done with the Adepts. There was potential, there was so much potential with his Adepts, but he failed to get some damage done. He had later third base, if you recall, and we saw Classic go for a massive move, diving into main base, canceling some of the production, delaying the production, depowering some buildings, getting some more probe kills, and extending his economic lead. Oh. And with that, Trigger's up against the wall. Trigger is up against the wall here. It's been a rough start. It also was a bit of an awkward start to the game because if you remember, we saw the attempted proxies, right? The probes, they moved into the center for their pylons and they scattered each other. So the initial plans were kind of thrown up into the air. We saw Classic with the fake out where he was able to force extra units out of Trigger. So Classic had faster blink. Also these minute details, minute differences early on. But here we go, we're getting into game number 3, potentially the final game of the series. I'm hoping for a game 4, I'm hoping for a game 5. I want to see some more out of these two, but the pressure is now on the Canadian Protoss. He needs your support. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the Canadian Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss for Team Protoss Pro, leading the series 2-0, and one game away from claiming this best of 5. It is a Classic. Here we go. Welcome to Tourmaline. Tourmaline is a very small map in the map pool, the smallest map, if I'm not mistaken. Short rush distance by ground, hyper aggression is favored here, and it's small enough to the point where we could even see a one base all in from back at home without even a proxy. I say that, but so far this series our players have been relatively tame. Yes, we had attempted proxies last game, true, they were scouted, they were shut down. But for the most part, Game 1 and Game 2 have been very mid-game oriented. We'll see if that trend continues coming into Tourmaline. We shall see. As probes, they pass by each other. Yo, shout out to the tuna! As they're moving out for the scouts, no proxy. No proxies, just going in. Second pylon in the main base for Classic, second pylon in the main base for Trigger. No proxies, no fake proxies either. That block was insane. Are you talking about the body blocking? That was crazy. If you're referring to the Stalker warp into blocking the adepts, it's crazy. That was a power move, is what that was. That was. As both players open up a double Stalker, we do have a third and fourth Stalker on the way for Trigger. Same can be said for Classic. So far, mirrored builds, Trigger the first to expand, Classic not too far behind. Now with the additional Stalkers, we should be pushing. Classic is moving out, so Trigger is doing the same. Oh, Classic hiding in the tall grass. He's going to get the first volley off. Up! Okay, he moves out. Yeah, he does move out. They will trade. In the end, a Trigger coming out on top here. Classic with impatience. He could have made use of the tall grass. I mean, he still can. Yeah, he still can. Trigger, he has to respect it. They trade 1-to-1. They trade, they back off. So far, so good. Oh, and we have a varying opener here. We have a Robo opener out of Classic, meanwhile Twilight Council out of Trigger. Now with the initial Robo, this is typically something that's more defensive. It does allow for earlier immortal production. It does allow for earlier immortals. Of course, you can harass with a War Prism. True, you can go Prism into Adepts into some kind of harassment, but for the most part, this typically leads into a higher immortal count, typically into skipping a Blink into Glaive Adepts, into a heavy immortal Glaive Adept composition. We'll see if Classic is looking ahead in that direction. We shall see. But the reason why I say this is typically more defensive is because a Trigger should gain map control with Blink, right? Blink does allow for a more mobile composition. It is going to be Prism first. Okay. Opening up with a War Prism. With this, Classic does have some reinforcement and harassment options. So for the most part, he's getting in position to deny the Overseer. Sorry, the Hallucination Scout. Classic trying to deny the scouting. Trigger looking to expand, going for a faster third. Prism comes in to reinforce. Classic is actually going for the first push. With this, of course, he has defensive Blink. True. And this is going to hit before Blink of Trigger. Uh-oh. He's going to hit first. There's no immortal production, and Classic is going to commit. He gets spotted by the hallucinations. Okay, immortal production has begun. But there is a window here where Trigger does not have Blink. Classic's moving in. Does move in so far. Nice kiting. Nice juggling. Yeah, Classic is breaking through. He breaks through that defensive line. Pays off a couple of Stalkers. Spots a third base. Going for another warp in. Blink just not finishing. Yeah, Blink is done, but is it too late? Yeah, Trigger is zoned away. The third base is under fire. And no shot is going to be forced to cancel. No shot. Trigger's going for it. Once again, the juggling back. Oof. Yeah, and there we go. He will force the cancel. Brutal pickoff. That was meant to be Trigger's advantage this game. And Classic is like, mate, Blink what? Who needs Blink? We just give me a Prism back. Just give me a War Prism. The Stalkers, they can try to come in for the surround. Warping in the face of Trigger. Zealous, they finish, and Classic is done. He's broken Trigger. Shield Barrier's out of energy. The Immortal does rally across the map. Boys are being pulled. And Trigger, he might barely hold on here. Finally, he can kill some Stalkers. Finally, there's no War Prism. But these trades are so brutal. Oof. Defouls with the shield batteries. Once again, ensuring there is no third. And again, just hyper aggression out of Classic. With that Prism, he was able to out micro. Again, as we mentioned, the first half of the fight, Trigger didn't even have Blink. So he was just being bullied back. And now Trigger is down in economy. He's down on workers, down in economy. Classic now with a faster third. And Trigger, he has to find some damage here. Classic's waiting for him with 2 immortals. And a prism. See Trigger peeling off some units. Classic's in position. And nice defense out of Classic. He's keeping up. He's keeping up with Trigger. Zoning Trigger away. And we're just getting ready here, getting ready for the move outs, getting ready for the quadruple immortal push. It's going to be 4 immortals. Blink will soon finish off a Classic. It's almost done. And here he comes. The best chance here for Trigger should be to avoid the fight. Maybe come in and catch some rallying reinforcements. Or just force the army back home. Speaking of. He rotates to the 3rd base. We spoke at the beginning of the game about how typically when you open up Robo it leads into Glaive Adepts. There we go. Glaives are on the way. To support the Immortals. Speaking of the Immortals, yeah, they can just take it to a head-on fight. Chasing down Trigger. Trigger, he cannot fight this head-on. He has to get the hell out of here. Get out of here, pappy. But again, it's a small map. There's not really much room to traverse. Where can he run? Where can he go? As Classic is moving in. He's got his 4 immortals. We don't have any shield batteries ready. And no batteries ready, no batteries in position. Oh. Trigger gets punished, losing 2 stalkers. Now Classic can force his way in. He can force his way in, pulling back the army. A couple of shield batteries are finishing, which is nice, but again, Trigger just has such a deficit. The base taking a lot of hits. Trigger's main army is zoned away. The majority just can't even engage. GG gets called, and Classic, he will take the series 3-0, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Congratulations here to Classic as he does claim the series. A very, very dominant showing here by Classic. Again, Trigger, he just had a really rough early game, almost every game actually. Game 1, Game 2, and Game 3. I will say that this 3rd game was the most intense and the most chaotic, and definitely a really interesting and really clean kind of timing there from Classic. Remember, Classic went for a Robo opener, went for the early Warp Prism, and he was able to hit just before, it was like, I want to say 15 to 20 seconds before Blink was ready. So Classic was able to dominate the initial fight, bully Trigger back, and actually get on top of the 3rd base. Force a cancellation on the 3rd base, take a better engage, and then build up his immortals back at home to maintain that stronger army and stronger economy as well. It was impressive. It was very impressive to see Classic's Warp Prism micro. It was crazy good. And with that, GG well played. Classic did take the series. And meanwhile, a big shout out to Genesis Buddha in the chat. Thank you so much for the raid. God, and also, I was about to give Trigger a shout out as well. Big shout out to Trigger, because Trigger, he was streaming his PvP. And even though Trigger may have lost here in the semis, he did, one, make it to the main event. He did get invited to the monthly finals, so he did well in the lead up to the event, and also made it to the semis as well. Was able to take down his previous opponent in the quarterfinals. He was able to take down Skillus in a pretty dominant fashion as well. So a big shout out to Trigger. Trigger played well for sure. No shame in going down to Classic. He is one of the best Protoss players in the world. Arguably the best. Definitely can make an argument between Classic and Hero, but regardless, GG well played